Hello everyone, VidJarge here again, and today I'm going to be making a video on RuneScape and RuneScape Combat. How lovely, somebody appeared right in front of me. They are taking full advantage of the Treasure Hunter's latest theme, which is the gem, what is that called? I can't look it up here, but it's a gem creation system where you get to make your own outfits if you get it. It's purely cosmetic, but RuneScape has a lot of things so you can actually display your cosmetic gear and not actually have to worry about sacrificing your gear capability while also doing your fashion sense. Okay, first things first, you'll notice my little pet here, my little buddy. This is actually one of the things you can get from Solomon's general store, which is actually really useful, and some people might see it as an unfair advantage to people who have more of a disposable income than others, because as you can see right now, what he's doing is he's foraging for items. Now the thing of it is, even if you're at your max stats, because I have a main character who is a max stats, and he will still bring me onion seeds and potato seeds, which is like level 1 and level 2 of the farming skill. So in that regard, his foraging capabilities aren't that great. But where the main thing comes in from them is you can actually have them fetch items for you while you're doing combat. So they don't always gain every item, and you don't control when they go, and you don't control what they pick up. But the fact that they're there and they do that, it is extremely useful for combat. Now there's actually a lot of different combat stats, and there's a lot of different combat setups. If you're using the evolution of combat system, which is what I personally prefer, because, well, let me show you on this poor Shantae guard, and I'm actually in the desert area leading from one of the main cities out. But I'll show you a little bit about what this pet will do whenever he's dead. Okay, he didn't go pick it up because I'll show you. You have a little bit of capability of controlling what they go for. And here, I have him going for everything but bones and ashes, because everything drops bones and ashes. And until I have the Bone Crusher and the Ectoplasmator on this character, I'm not really worried about it. Now, what is so important about bones is that there is a prayer skill. In order to train your prayer skill, you need, you guessed it, bones or ashes from stuff like demons. Now the Ectoplasmator will actually automatically give you XP for ghosts, stuff that drop nothing at all. It'll give you some XP for them. Now if you can upgrade it with the Ghostly Essence, it'll gain charges, which will actually beef up the XP you get from the ghosts, different types. But it'll also automatically use your ashes that you select with a small little bonus too. So it is actually extremely useful to have and extremely good to have. The Bone Crusher can automatically bury bones for you, as long as they are not in a noded form, and that goes for both of those devices. But that is how you want to train your prayer. Now, if you're doing like a regular account, you can go to the Grand Exchange, you can visit the forums, you can trade with other players, you can buy it that way. which will be a lot easier but very costly because most bones, the ones that actually give decent XP, cost about 2k plus. Now 2,000 gold in a game might not sound like much, but it can add up, because in order to get 99 in this skill, well, all these skills except for invention, which is a different XP ratio, but normal skills require over 13 million experience, and as you've seen there, regular bones only give 5 XP. So it is a very long skill to train. However, it is extremely useful and has some of your most beneficial buffs in the game. Because one of the most popular things to do is to get the curses, which is unlocked through questing. Which, this is why questing is so important, because you can get all these kind of things. However, some of the most popular is this stuff right down here, the Anguish, the Turmoil, and Torment, because what these will do, there's one for magic, one for range, and one for melee. It'll sap and lower your targets, whichever form you're using for it, whether it be the magic, but it's magic, strength, and attack, and it'll also lower their defense in general. And now when it's lowering theirs, it's also boosting yours. So this is extremely useful. Another extremely popular one is a Soul Split Curse, because while you're fighting, a certain percentage of the damage you deal comes back to you and heals you. So you're not only hurting your target, but you are healing yourself. So it is extremely popular, and there's actually items that will boost the healing rate. So you won't be healing just a little bit anymore, you'll be healing a good chunk, which is extremely useful when it comes time for boss monsters. Boss monsters are an excellent way to get good gear, good money if you're playing a regular account. Now this account, it's not going to be good money for me, because a hardcore account can't sell to other people. I have to gain my money through drops mostly. Granted, yes, there is a high alchemy spell which will convert targeted item into more coins, but it's only a certain percentage of what their in-game value is, not the street value. Street value, generally for most items, is much, much more than you'll get otherwise. And thanks to stuff like the skills of invention, a lot of items have gained in value. For instance, even this Willow composite bow, which is a treasure trail item. Normally these were worth absolutely nothing. Apparently they still are. Well, for the high alchemy value, which is only 180 gold pieces. Now, if I were to go to try to sell this on, like, let's say the Grand Exchange, I'll probably get a lot more, because when you disassemble this item, you get a very unique item that only comes from Treasure Trail items. Treasure Trail is something different completely from Treasure Hunter. Treasure Hunter is a MTX bonus, if you will. You can buy stuff into that with real life money. It's not really encouraged, but it doesn't really give a huge bonus to the people who do it. I mean, it is useful, yes. It can give you a bonus, yes. But it's not as overpowering as some people would actually believe. And maybe in a later date, I'll actually make a video on just how little of an impact that can actually have. Just like Solomon, you know, you got your multi-transaction type stuff, and it's good. It has a few perks to it, but RuneScape actually did it in a way where it's not completely horrendous, and it's not completely just for people who have extra money. They actually have it so you have a lot of links into earning keys for Treasure Hunter and rune coins for the Solomon's General Store, and you can do that without paying a dime. So they have ways of getting it, and not to mention, you can even use your in-game wealth to buy these. Now, even a hardcore or regular Iron Man account can buy bonds through the Grand Exchange, I believe. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure, I'll have to check that later on. But you can use your in-game wealth to buy different things. Like, you can buy Treasure Hunter keys, you can buy rune coins, you can buy membership, all with these bonds. Matter of fact, RuneScape, well, Jagex actually will. Now, I won't say they will do it this year, but they have in past 2 years offered 1-year memberships in December, January that are VIP memberships. And what these are is they offer not only a good sized discount compared to what you'd be paying all year long, but you can buy them with these bonds. So you can buy them with in-game cash. Now, not only to sweeten the pot a little bit, but to reward those players who do buy the 1-year VIP membership, they actually have special perks throughout the year. Now, you may say this isn't fair, this isn't right, but it's worth it. And it's their way of saying thank you. Because, let's face it, it's not always easy to reward players without making another set of players angry. But now back to the combat. I kind of got off on a little tangent there. Yeah, these pets are extremely useful for combat. That's about it, in my opinion. Because this way, I can actually have him gathering my items for me, and I don't need to worry about that. This, I'll show you in a bit. It's actually a very handy tool. It's from Rune Metrics. But first, I want to get into the combat aspect of things. Here is your complete combat power system. Now, if you see, you can select the individual tabs over here, but I'm just going to select the entire tab. First, you can balance where you get your XP and where it goes. So you can have your combat only affect attack, strength, defense, or you can have it affect all three, which is what I like to do. This way I'm getting XP in everything. I do the same thing for range, I do the same thing for magic. It's so much easier than to have it going that way. Now, for those who want to have like a more free will of what you do, there is also extra things. Like, you can block your PvP XP, but Iron Man doesn't really matter because I don't believe we can actually get XP in PvP. Player versus player. Now, I can't get trade offers, so it doesn't really matter for me for this part. I'm an Iron Man account, we can't trade with other players. But whenever you do go into this, it might be a good idea, if you're going to be in it for a while, to mark off this, because it'll have less interruptions if you're in a highly populated area. Next, you have your different modes of both Evolution of Combat and Legacy. Full manual means you have to select all your abilities yourself. There's no question, you have to do it yourself. Revolution will actually automatically fire off these abilities, which I'll show you in a bit. It'll automatically fire off the first 9 abilities. However, the last 5 will actually have to be triggered by you, which is actually kind of nice because most ability bars will fill up pretty quick. Now, I'm actually missing a few abilities because there's a few abilities you can get from special quests and special events. Now, I didn't get them yet on this account. I just started this account not that long ago, so I've been trying to get stuff like the Gold Accumulator, the Bone Crusher, which is only obtainable through the Dungeoneering skill, which gives you so many tokens depending on your different attributes, which I'll show you later in a different video. Now there's Momentum. Momentum really increases your damage of your auto attacks, like it says there, but you don't really use abilities anymore. The only abilities you really can use anymore with Momentum is ultimate abilities, which I'll get into in a little bit here actually. Legacy is for those who really don't like the ability system. You can actually just go back to the old style RuneScape where it's still point and click, but there's no abilities and the damage is actually balanced out to the way it is equal for both the Legacy and the Evolution and Combat users. Now to me, there's more perks to using abilities. I got used to using abilities. I do not want to go back to that old style. Now, when you go into the different areas of the combat settings for the powers, you can actually select your prayers, which if you see here, there's actually different requirements for different powers. So like this one, if you drag this over to here, it'll show you the requirements to using that, which is having the level 27 prayer. So you can take, okay, it won't let me take that back out. Alright, now to going into the different abilities. You have defensive abilities, magic abilities, ranged, and melee abilities. Now defense also comes with the constitution abilities that rolled into one. There is some constitution, which is your health, abilities. Now they automatically throw in a weapon special attack because some weapons do have their own special attack, which is in the same level as a threshold ability, so it does use up some of your adrenaline. You have your regenerate, which is whenever you're out of combat, you can restore your health, but you have to sacrifice your adrenaline. If you don't have any adrenaline at all, you cannot use that ability. Insight, this will kind of make you gain more threat. Like if you're used to other games, it'll increase the odds of the monsters coming to you versus other people. So that is actually kind of useful for stuff like raids and bosses if you are going to be the tank. Tanking in here is completely different than other games. Well, not completely different, but the grouping system is different compared to most games. And Siphon is one of those abilities that is often overlooked because it is not really that useful unless maybe you are in a PvP setting, but even then it's still not that great. There's other things you could do that'll make things better for you, which all it does is take away some of their adrenaline if you're fighting another person. Some creatures will have adrenaline, but generally it's not that useful. Okay, magic. Magic, here I will show you the different things like this here, right here. Okay. So, the Tsunami ability requires you to have level 81 magic. So, I could not use this ability at all. And it uses up 100% of my adrenaline bar because it is a ultimate ability. So, not only do I have to have this, I have to have this as well. Which you gain adrenaline by using your basic abilities, which will speed things up. So you're going to have your combat abilities, and we'll go for one that actually has a status effect to it, like Combust. Combust is a basic ability that has a effect to it, which what it is, it applies a damage over time to a target. And it deals 100 to 188% of the active spell's damage over 6 seconds. If the target moves from location, they suffer 2 times the damage. So this is how the abilities work. And then all I have to do is I'll set my abilities to my bar. You have a lot of different bars. I have 1 through 8. I bought a few extra bars because I like keeping other stuff in my bars as well. You'll see like I have Surge down here by itself, which in certain aspects is a very useful ability if you need to get out of somewhere a little bit faster, because it can boost your movement. But now when it says 100 to 180% of the active spell's damage, your active spell is whatever spell you have selected in here. Now the only thing I wish they would do is they would include what each spell's damage is, because right now they do not have that updated. I'm assuming they will in time. But in here you want to select your spell. See, now my main hand is set to that. If I equip my offhand two-handed weapon, I can actually do this, and now it'll ask me how I want to set this. So you can actually have 2 different spells being fired off. However, just to make it easier and more consistent, I always set both main and offhand to the same spell. This way I don't need to carry different types of runes for that, which runes are these little guys right here. I'm not going to drop those, but they are heavily used in Magic, thanks to the EOC though, which stands for the Evolution of Combat. When you are using an ability, it greatly decreases your rune consumption. Some people don't see that as fair. Personally, I see it as fair because it works the same way with the ranged abilities, with the bolts, arrows, darts, all their things that works with them. And melee has nothing like that. So I believe it's actually very fair. And here you also have your teleport spells, which I don't have any runes on me, so the spells will not be highlighted. You have to have runes for every single spell. See right there, the Varrock teleport, I have the level for it. I have the air runes for it, but I do not have the fire runes on me, and I do not have the law runes on me. And it requires all 4 of those things in order to use that spell. So unless you have that stuff unlocked either by level wise or the required items to do it, it'll be grayed out and it will not be highlightable. And you will see here, like for instance, this ability, when you look at it, the stuff that you have is in green, the stuff you don't have on you is in red. Pretty simple. It's just basically its way of saying, hey, this is why. And then you can go from there. The other thing I have here, I'm going to equip a bow. This way it can highlight the abilities better. Oh, I don't have a high enough range, so I'll go in here. And I will actually get out a bow I know I can use. Alright, now some of my abilities are highlighted. Again, just like Magic, you have different abilities you can use. You have your basics, your thresholds, and your ultimates. The threshold, they only use 50% of your adrenaline bar, and they're more powerful than your basic abilities, but not quite as powerful as your ultimates. Though some can say, and for some spells or abilities, it is actually more beneficial to use your thresholds versus your ultimate abilities. Because you can actually, in the long run, potentially do more damage by using just thresholds. But ultimates usually come with a big, hefty at-once damage or special effect. Then you got your melee. I will equip two-handed, well, dual weapons. Now, you know there's attack and there's strength on the bar. However, it is still both melee. So they are in the same categories as each other. You have your one-handed and you have your two-handed. This goes for all skill, or all combat. So your ranged has one-handed and two-handed abilities. An example of a two-handed ability for range is like the needle strike, which requires two-handed weapons. And you have to have two-handed weapon, one in each hand, and you have to have the ammunition for each one in each hand, or else it doesn't really work. However, simplest way to show you this one is right here. It has the two-handed abilities that I do have highlighted. For instance, like this. Two swords, cross, like that. It just means two weapons. It doesn't matter which two melee weapons, as long as it's two melee weapons. That is really all there is to the combat aspect. Now to actually show you some combat, I am currently on a Slayer assignment. Now this Slayer assignment, it's not that great. Oh, that's another thing. When you go into dangerous areas, the game will warn you. But we're a little bit fearless, so we'll go right into this. The desert actually has an area effect on it at all times, where if you don't have something like, let's say, water skins, you can actually receive damage from dehydration. Now, thankfully, all these cactuses that are around, some of them you can actually cut to refill your water skins. See? Now, instead of just having two, it has 3 charges yet. I love RuneScape's music. I will never ever keep that off unless they require it. However, they do have a very unique music sense to them. And this is actually in the NXT client, so you will see different shades. For some reason, there must be a recent glitch in their NXT system that is turning a purple hue on everything lately. Why it is doing that, I have no clue. But if you know anything about RuneScape, they're constantly updating, they're constantly upgrading. This purple hue will eventually be fixed within, I would say, a few weeks at tops. It'll probably be updated this coming Monday or Tuesday. See, right there, my guy took a drink from his water skin. This way he didn't suffer the dehydration damage. Now, to show you magic, I have spells selected, and you'll see my abilities are automatically firing off. They all have cooldowns, yes. But you see how simple that was. Now, when I was saying about the Rune Metrics system, all Rune Metrics does is you can, well, it has actually a lot of features, but all I really use it for is the drops. Because this way I can see what is being dropped without actually having to go right click it or do their loot area. I can just look, see it. If it's something I want, if he doesn't pick it up, I can go pick it up. But at these lower levels, the odds of actually wanting to pick up something are greatly reduced. Now right there I just did a threshold ability. So you can see the bonuses of doing abilities. It's not only cosmetically pleasing, but they have their bonuses to them. I mean, it's just like, why would you not want to use them in my eyes? Alright. Now see, I have my hotkey set up. These abilities will fire off. However, the hotkey ones, like the thresholds, I'm going to show you the threshold right now for me, which is 2, which is asphyxiate, which will actually stun him from doing anything to me. See, he's using it right now. Fortunately, he died a little too quick. But you've seen how this dropped down, the adrenaline bar, and you see how it raises when a basic ability does get used. That's how you do your melee combat. Up next, I will show you the ultimate ability, which I use is Omni Power, which uses all 4 elements. And here we go. And there's a graphical glitch, so you didn't really get to see it. So I'll build it up again, and hopefully this time there won't be any glitches. For whatever reason, something following that ability just seems to make it glitch out. But as you can see, it doesn't take long to actually build adrenaline on your bar. Now for the abilities that take a while to fire off, like this one, it takes 2.4 seconds to actually completely use that ability. Which, it's not long, but in some senses, yes it is. Okay, here goes Omni Power again. We'll give it one more shot to see if it can actually work the way I would like it to. I'm actually going to take that ability down and out of the revolution chain. This way it doesn't fire off, and hopefully we can actually see it. It is taking place, just it's not showing it. But you can see also when it comes to their combat system, different creatures have different weaknesses. Except for bosses, they have no weaknesses. You yourself have a weakness too. Right now, since I am using magic, my weakness is range abilities. And here we go. Now we're going to try to do it. Here goes Omni Power. Forms the ball, throws the ball at him, does a massive amount of damage at once. But now, also that regenerate ability, I have that toggled to a hotkey. This way, bam, out of combat, he heals a little bit. Heals by a certain percentage of your actual health. Now, for the summary on your character, that's pretty cool. You can see what you're doing. But we're going to go for the loadout of my character. Alright, see, it is using runes, but very slow rate compared to what it used to. Now, since I am using dual wielding weapons, my speed is actually very fast. That is the perk of it. The type of spell I'm using, it even tells you, is air. The accuracy is for the overall accuracy. So it's taken into account both of these items, but with a slight reduction. And actually, that's individually too. So my skill bonus is giving me some, but also my weapon is. So I have 600 accuracy with this, and I have, right here is my offhand, I have another 600 accuracy with this. So that's why that is so useful. My current damage, actually apparently did update this now. It is telling you your spell damage, your skill bonus, and your strength bonus. Now I don't know if that's a skill. Okay, here we go. This is actually my strength bonus right here, is through the gear I have on. The gear I have on appears to be what's giving me my strength bonus, potentially. I might be wrong on that. That might be actually just my strength skill showing through into the magic. I have been away for a little while from RuneScape. I was playing other games, so that actually is a potential new update that I wasn't here for whenever it happened, which is really good. Your offhand abilities, it'll show you the same things. And then your abilities themselves, which will show about how good they are. There is no speed for the abilities because, as you see, they fire off at their own speed. The only thing you really got to worry about is the cooldown ratio, which I actually display the timers on it myself. which you can actually select through the interface options in this game. But now my defensive stats, I'm wearing magic gear. So that means I am more susceptible to range damage, but I am stronger against melee damage. Jagex does this to make the combat system more, I don't know if I'd say difficult, but more interesting. This way you can't just have one class that just completely dominates everything. Because in terms of attack damage, magic and range are at the top. Melee is up there, but the accuracy you get from magic and range abilities is so high compared to melee. So odds are you will absolutely crush everything if there was not for the factor of weaknesses. So if you do go into PvP, which I will not do with this character, I'll show you on my main character, you would like to go with other people. This way, in case, let's say, you are using magic, you could have a melee person with you to help you in case somebody of range pops up and you are not completely screwed at that point. But I think that pretty well covers it for the combat aspect, other than there is summoning, which I don't have any summons, but I'll go quickly make one. There is the prayer aspect, which is a lot like your adrenaline and summoning, or that kind of stuff. It'll actually drain over time. So whenever you activate it, as you can see, it is doing a very slow drain on my prayer points. I can go recharge them at a prayer altar, and then they'll be right back up to the max stats. So to show you a little bit about summoning, which summoning is a mixture of both combat and skilling, because there is actually familiars that will help out with skilling as well as combat, which is actually incredibly useful. And for whatever reason, I am having such a hard time with the client today. Alright, now we're back in the town. I chose this town because there is some areas where I can actually get stuff to do summoning. And unlike some games, RuneScape has a very easy to interact with bank. I can actually hold a grand total of 761 items currently, and I do not have my bank boosters purchased yet. So as you can see, you can create multiple tabs at no extra cost. All you have to do is take an item, put it there, and bam, right there's a tab. Or you can take it out and it'll close out that tab. Me, I like to keep certain things separated. It just makes it so much easier. And in time, that becomes more and more necessary. And I forgot to get my stuff. Okay, for the summoning skill, there's actually a few things that are required. You need a charm. And then for the appropriate level of the thing you're trying to make, you need your secondary ingredient, which I'm going to make the Spirit Wolf, which is your level 1 summoning monster. You need your Spirit Shards, which are actually required, and you need a summoning pouch, which, since I only have one, I'm just going to get one from the store when I get there. And if you can't see, like if you're not used to the old client RuneScape had, the scenery to this game is just getting more and more beautiful now because of the NXT client. And this is just beautiful. So here is actually a summoning area. I'm going to trade with the main guy. He does give some free stuff, which I'm just going to go ahead and take all that. This way I'm not using my own. But here is the obelisk, which is how you make your summons. You'll click on the obelisk. You'll have different types of summoning scrolls and pouches you can make, as you can see, but I don't have an Elder Charm, I don't have blue charms, I don't have crimson, green, I only have a gold. And since I can only make very few things, see, like for him, I don't have any raw chicken on me, so I can't make the Dreadfowl pouch. However, I do have everything else. I do have my wolf bones, I can make him. It'll tell me before I even make it how much XP I get, what the sell to store value is, what the grand exchange rate is, and what the high alch value is. High alch is usually higher than the stores because of the items it takes to actually make it is more than just a couple things. So usually high alch is your best bet when it comes to selling, unless you can trade with other people. Then it's the grand exchange, which is basically their version of an auction house. Yeah, you'll want to click on this. Once you have that, you can click infuse. Now I have a Spirit Wolf summoning pouch. Now in order to really use him, I'll go somewhere where I can actually fight something, which actually there's a dungeon nearby, so I'll go to that. And this dungeon is a little bit off to the south. Like I said, there's a little bit of a glitch with the NXT client right now, which will probably be fixed no later than Monday. Jagex, they release updates every single Monday or Tuesday. Whether it's something big or something small, there's usually some sort of content. This is one of the dungeons. This is called the Taverley Dungeon. It is big, it is huge, it is beautiful. They've really been doing good with updating their graphics. The only downside is you cannot completely zoom in, which, give it time, they might do it. But now, in order to summon my familiar, I have to dismiss my pet. As of right now, you can only have one follower at a time. All I have to do is click the summoning pouch. It'll summon the Spirit Wolf. Right here, as you can see, as time goes on, I'll actually get my follower details up and expand that out. As you can see, there is a timer. They have their own health. They have basic attacks. They have their special attacks, which I didn't make any scrolls, so he doesn't have his special, but he will attack normally. Now the nice thing is, if you do have scrolls, you can set an auto fire rate, which I would prefer personally go towards the middle because it does use some of your special bar. Well, some of his special bar. So yeah, and their special abilities are generally worth it. But now whenever let's say I go to fight the skeleton, he's going to attack him right away. However, I'm really overpowered for that skeleton. As you can see, that skeleton dropped a Grimy Harlander, which is used for Herblore. In a normal sense, yes, I would pick that up, but I'm doing a video, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. These you'll actually see more of the pet interaction. See, he is attacking. Now, since he is a low level summons, he's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. But he is doing some damage. And see, here's more types of bones. They give a little bit more experience than regular bones. But these creatures, as you can tell, I'm not burning through them like I was the crocodiles. That's because their weakness is range or bolts. So you'll actually want to use a crossbow against them to be the most efficient against them in killing them. The Batwing hide I will take because I will need that later when I go to make some armor. Now, it can be very imperative to use your surroundings to assist you in combat. See, now he will be doing damage to me still, but he can't get in close for damage either now. He can only use one type of attack. And as you can see, my summons, he is still attacking away. Now when it does come time for me to use summons, I will generally do it like this. Mostly so I can do the options of calling it, so this way it's near, or renewing it. But you can see how familiars can actually be useful. Now I want to get out of there because I'm not actually faring too well with those, with both the familiar and myself. Now I am going to do this. I'm going to call my familiar over. This way you can see more of what they're capable of doing. It's something that's probably closer to level for him. Now I'm going to let the wolf fight him a little bit. See, the wolf is doing damage to him. Just not quite as frequent as if I would. So that is all for this video. So until next time, later guys.